My first guest on the Vicky show was my grandfather because I was so intrigued by him. He served in World War II. He cut the grass. God, today, do men do that anymore? He cut the grass. He worked. He didn't argue when my grandmother felt some kind of way. He was man enough to where she didn't run over him. But he didn't get involved in no back and forth. My grandmother always loved for us to scratch her head. That soothed her. Sometimes my grandfather would do it. And at 70-something years old, 60-something years old, 70-something years old, I would see my grandfather have my grandmother sitting on the floor and he would scratch her head. When he was in school, one of the electives, he had no choice. And one of the topics he did, whether he was going to do something related to hair or sewing. He was raised, and I want my assistant to make sure I get this right. I believe he was raised by a stepfather. Is that right? Because his father was dead. His father, I think, died in World War I. Is that right? How dare you make fun of another man that comes into somebody else's life? His father was dead and another man married his lovely mother and loved him. How dare you? So because I didn't have the traditional male figure in my life, do you all think that I'm just going to give the middle finger to my granddaddy, who was a man, an all the way man? Talk black to me. I said was an all the way man. But he would take me, because I worked ever since I could work. I wasn't even able to legally work. My mother had to get a permit for me because I wasn't old enough to technically work at the time. I was 15. Station wagon, driving around 5 kids, a mama, him and my grandmother. Their house, 1 bathroom. We were still hanging out clothes, didn't have a dryer. I don't know about y'all, but I'm from Mississippi like that. Didn't grow up with cable, that kind of stuff. Granddaddy didn't whoop us as much as my grandmother would. But he would talk you to death. You almost wish, just give me a whooping today. Don't talk my head off. Just give me a whooping. He was a giver and a server. I can go anywhere right now in the city I grew up in. And when they hear my grandmother's name, when they hear my grandfather's name, I get blessings and favor because of their legacy. How dare you? I said, how dare you? Am I mad at my father? I never had that kind of anger growing up because my father wasn't involved in our life as much. My brothers, their response was a little different. Let me tell you all something. We're in a very wicked world where our open enemy has undone the family. It's not about making excuses. It's about the fact that what I've been given, I take. If my father figure came in the form of a granddaddy, I received it. Because you must not forget that your mother and your father, no matter what the circumstance, they ultimately are just vessels. You come through them. They're your entryway to earth. Don't reject the manner and means, the unusual manner and means in which your father figure might come. Don't forget, there's demolition going on. There's rebuilding. Demolition is messy as we're trying to rebuild a new world. Why don't you see me doing nonstop back-to-back shows on dogging Black men, including my ex? Because I understand. Does that mean I'm getting ready to marry a beta male? Do I look like I'm about to marry a beta male? Of course, I keep my current relationship status secret for obvious reasons. But even my ex, when the federal government came after me, they thought that because I was officially divorced, that they were going to be able to get some information or get an ex-scorned husband to say something crazy. They showed me the FBI documents, my team. In the FBI transcript, when the government reached out to my ex-husband, the transcripts is cussed out, is bleep cussing out cuss words in it, where he cussed him out and said, "Do you think I'm getting ready to help you build a case against my ex-wife? Fool." He was in a legal predicament separate and aside from that. And he was begging to be a witness and to speak on my behalf, because don't nobody know who you really are like the person that used to live with you. And they refused to bring him in. He stood up against them, cussed them out, and said, "I wish you would." I received that. I had a whole lot of you professional looking brothers back in the day wanted me to make deals with the government. One Black brother who at one time got on my nerves and didn't know how to talk to me. When he realized that I was being railroaded by the US government, he went in himself to talk to FBI agents and said, "You guys are going to try to build a case against her." I couldn't stand that man. But he didn't have his knees knocking in the face of our open enemy and met with them personally and said, "How dare you?" So I ride and I receive from my brothers in the manner in which it's given to me. I know that this is not the only world. Some of you, I'm going to say this and you ain't going to like it, but too bad, so sad. Thumbs up, share, share, share. Some of you have tried to give me some work because of the network I'm on. Because you disagree with something that other people are saying about him.